Hey folks, I wanted to give you a run through of laying out a stair stringer. So this stair stringer is our little garage stair practice question. And so we had a total rise of 36¼ inches, and we followed through our sheet and we determined that our unit rise is going to be 7¼ and our unit run would be 10¼ So I've already gone ahead and set up my framing square with my rafter clips, and so I have 7¼ and I have 10¼ already marked out. So just like when we're laying out rafters, I like to start from the corner. And I like to start from the corner because that allows us to hook on to the end of the board and mark that way. I'll show you what I mean in a minute. So what I'm going to do is start off by marking the top. So I'm not too worried about running long here. This is the first tread that we're going to cut out. Okay? And you'll notice that on our practice sheet we did this thing here where we're calculating the unit line length. So the unit line length here is 12 9/16. So 12 9/16 would be if I hooked on here and I measured over, and look at that, I've got 12, if you don't believe me. If you can see it, 12 9/16. So that's right on. So now the good thing about that, of using your unit line length, is we can actually pre-lay this out. So 12.5625 plus 12.5625. So the next measurement would be 25 1/8. So I'm hooking on to the end here, and I'm just going to run down the the stair stringer, and I'm going to go 25 1/8. I'm going to hit equals again, and I've got 37 11/16. 37 11/16. Keep sliding this down. Don't want to drop my phone. Oopsie. I'm going to hit equals again. I got 50 1/4. And I've got one more to do. I've got 62 13/16. 62 13/16. So now, by making those line length measurements, what that's doing is it's actually keeping you a little bit more honest when it comes to laying out your rafters. You actually have a point to fit in between. Now you can just step this down, but sometimes what happens is your pencil ends up making you grow, so you actually end up shifting down a little bit down the stringer. So you don't want to grow, you want to kind of leave it in place. So by putting those layout marks, I'm going to have my rafter meet up with that pencil mark and meet up with that pencil mark, and I know that I'm not going to artificially grow and make this thing skewed. Right? I'm just going to keep marking down here. If I'm out of frame here, I'm sorry. I'll quickly just kind of get these marked out. I'm using a nice sharp pencil because I want to be accurate. And I would make sure if I'm using my saw, I'm going to stay inside those lines. So now we got to deal with the top. So the top, because we normally have our stair stringer, we cut it off, we subtract 1 unit off the top. What we're going to do is we're going to just take that line, that original line that we had here, and we're going to just continue it all the way down. So I'm taking this and I'm continuing it all the way down. So now you can see that cut out kind of clearly there. So we're actually going to cut outside the line, outside the line, outside the line, and this is going to end up getting cut off like that. Okay, that's the top. And I'll cut that off for you just at the end of the video there so you can see. Now down here at the bottom, oops, sorry. Down here at the bottom, we're going to continue our line down here. Okay, and we'll make sure we have the correct number of rises. So I'm sorry guys, my table's a little small, so I'm just trying to run this around. So let's see, we had a total of 5 rises. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so we've got enough rises here, so that means this last one here is the bottom. Now for the bottom, what we have to do is off the bottom is subtract the thickness of our tread off the bottom. Okay, so fortunately for us, our framing square is 1.5 inches thick, and we're going to be using 1.5 inch thick stock. So I'm going to use a marker for this, and this is going to be the actual cut line, and we're going to end up cutting on that side of the line, and we're going to cut that all off. Okay? Now, if we want to make sure that our stairs don't go sliding, what we can do is we can actually cut off for a kicker board. Now I have a scrap of 2x4 here. And if you want, you can just literally just take a 2x4 like that and trace it. Okay? And of course we can make that, we can clean that up a little bit. Mark that out. So in effect, we would have a kicker board sitting right there, and we would notch that out so that when we have that set to the floor, our stair stringer or stair carriage, whatever you want to call it, will butt into that kicker and it can't slide forward. Okay? So then we're going to end up cutting that bottom out like that, and then we just start working our way and chopping away at these notches. Okay? And I'll cut the top just so you guys can see the top. Again, I'm going to try and rotate this like that. Hopefully you can see it okay. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut in here. So you can see how that top would be shaped, and I'll cut the first triangle in so you get a better sense of what it's like. Okay, and of course I would actually clean that up. You can see that little goober in the corner there. I'll clean that up with a handsaw for sure. And here's what I'll do, guys. I might as well cut the bottom while I'm in the zone here. So again, I'm cutting it. I'm shortening this. The first rise will be short, but then when you put that tread on top, it'll end up being the correct height when it's all said and done. I know this is going to look weird from your perspective, but when we put our first tread on top, that 1.5 inch that we cut off the bottom ends up getting put up back on top with our tread. So it's all going to work out in the end. And so there's our little notch out for our kicker. And when we have, sorry for all the shakiness on the table here, guys, we have our kicker in place. That'll prevent our stair carriage from getting shifted forward. All right, I hope you guys find this video helpful. We're gonna keep practicing these, and let's go get them.